Today we're going to be adding some transition words to our writing. So you have your writing journals and you have your narratives that we've been working on for a while. We're going to be adding transition words. A transition word helps our writing flow. So we're going to put a couple of the transition words up on the board and we're going to see if we can add some to our writing today. So there's some time transition words that kind of help put things in order. So things like first,
Okay.
next,
Yeah. Then. And in the end, sometimes you say finally.
Finally,
Right?
yep.
Okay.
And then there are other transition words just to help keep things moving in your story. So one that I really like is suddenly. When something is going to exciting happen, we can do suddenly.
Mrs. Wolf, you need to read the book Goonie Bird. My kids, we've read it, and she's a writer, and she said whenever you add the word suddenly, it always makes it more exciting. So I like that word, suddenly. Another good one you're writing is unfortunately. Maybe something bad is happening, unfortunately.
Okay.
We have also like in the end, so wrapping up our story, in the end. Some small ones could be like also.
Okay.
So, and then we could have like as. So as I drove, I was thinking like with my moped as I drove, right? Or as I was looking, or whatever it is, but as.
Okay.
And then, you know what, Mrs. Wolf, I think you start yours in a really good way. She starts her story just by saying a few years ago. So it's almost like saying once upon a time, but normally you don't say once upon a time with a true story. So a few years ago, I think is a really great way to start a story.
Okay, so transition words that need like helping you put things in order, use these. These can kind of help your writing flow. And one thing I have to tell you really quick before we get going in our stories is when you write a transition word, you always put a comma after it. Okay, so I'm going to go back through here. First, comma, next, comma, then, comma. So you remember, if I put them on the board, maybe you'll remember. You always put a comma after your transition word.
Well, this one is going to be like, as I.
Oh, yeah.
So you can put maybe dot, dot, dot. So I'm just going to go over here. As I drove, or as I blunt. Yep, there we go.
Okay, so Mrs. Cushman, did you find a couple places in your story?
I did. So, you know, I had, yesterday, we talked about I had they and they. I had it 2 times. And so I switched it and said, so I have, I'm talking about my sisters. They were both in their bedroom and would wave at me when I drove by. Instead of saying they again, I said my sisters, but then I put unfortunately. Unfortunately, my sisters soon got annoyed and stopped waving back. So there was my unfortunately. And then in the end, when I crashed into the grill, I thought that was definitely an exciting part. So I have, I wasn't watching where I was going because I was trying to get them to wave again. Suddenly, I crashed into my dad's grill.
Okay, and I have a couple places in my story where I already had some transition words, but I did add one. So I have a few years ago, I went snorkeling, so I thought that was a kind of a transition. And then I have one part where I say I saw a large gray blob, so I said then I saw a large gray blob. And then I added to the ending, I said in the end, next time I will only snorkel in shallow water. So I added that one. I would like to put suddenly in my story, but I don't know if anything happened suddenly because we swam
slowly
up onto the shark. So I don't know. I mean, I guess suddenly I noticed it.
Okay, or suddenly you realized what it was.
Yeah, I love that transition word. I just couldn't really find a place,
right.
but I'll keep working on it. So what we want you to do today is find 2 places in your writing where you can add a transition word. When you add it, make sure you put a comma after it. And we'd love to see an updated version of your story below on the Padlet.